A revitalised national security system is high priority for the South African government. But what opportunities and challenges will this pose in the retirement industry? Joining me now to speak about where the industry is headed is Dr. Bapela and Mothobi Seseli from Argon Asset Management Company. Well, Manas, if I might start with you, how is the retirement industry in South Africa structured?
The retirement industry has moved from having approximately 18,000 funds in the 1980s to just about 3,000 funds, those being largely industry funds or multi-employer funds. The number of members accounted for in the system currently sitting at about 15 million. The value of the assets being managed as at the end of 2012, that's sitting at 2.75 trillion rands, with the split being about 40% the government employee pension fund, and the rest of the privately administered funds accounting for about 50%, and the rest being underwritten funds or those funds that fall within the insurance space.
Well, Mothobi, how is Argon Asset Management Company involved in this industry?
Asset management is quite critical, a service in the retirement fund industry. The reason why retirement funds exist is when people get to retirement, there's money for them to retire off. We play an important part there in that we try to grow wealth on behalf of pension fund members. We offer strategies across the asset class spectrum, so equities, fixed income, as well as multi-asset class strategies.
Over the past months, the South African National Treasury has released a number of papers proposing changes to the retirement industry in South Africa. So what's the main proposals? The
proposals are numerous, but the key objectives are: how do you increase coverage and participation in the system? Number one. Number two, the issue of savings. Savings are very important in an economy if you're going to grow an economy. So how do you increase the rate of savings outside of that system? There are a number of things that you could do. So giving incentives from a tax point of view to get more contributions into the system, giving more incentives for non-retirement savings. That's very important. How do you better income at retirement? That's also very important. Those are some of the objectives, including, of course, the issue of preservation, how to get funds working a lot better from a governance point of view. We're starting to move towards individual retirement accounts as well, so the issue of portability also becomes quite critical.
Manas, what do you see as being the impact of these changes?
The impact will be quite broad. If you focus on the one on consolidation of funds, I mentioned earlier on at the beginning that we've seen the number of funds changing from in the 80s, where it was in the region of 18,000, to a point where it's about 3,000, and we'll continue to see this changing over time. I think one of the important benefits is that the economies of scale, the improved governance budget. You no longer have, for instance, the likes of small employer fund where affordability of having to handle issues of governance is an issue. You've got the likes of umbrella funds where you have the economies of scale. Therefore, when dealing with issues of governance, where we are operating in a increasingly highly regulated environment, seeing those benefits coming through of economies of scale.
And Mothobi, what will be the challenges they'll pose?
There are a number of challenges. The low level of financial literacy in our society, quite a big challenge. That's one. Two, the one policy proposal for mandating preservation, potentially difficult in an environment where people don't have income security. You need to be providing a broad social security net. Going to mandate preservation, in effect, they can't touch that money, but it's their money. Two, trust in the system, or three rather, trust in the system, quite critical because of entrenched and vested interests, but largely the issue of attaining the country's transformational objectives. How do you, alongside changing the system, also change or achieve the transformational objectives of the country, Black economic empowerment?
Manas, why is improving fund disclosure so important?
We all know that globally there's a move towards improving adherence to a fair treatment of customer, TCF. We know that in our country that's something that has been making rounds, guidelines being distributed to trustees of funds that we manage. So it's important. One of the key things to be disclosed is obviously cost. We know that cost do play a big role in the value that we try to build for the members. And hence it's important for them to know what's going on so that they can make informed decisions.
Well, finally, Mothobi, with these reforms will come opportunities. What do you see these to be and how are you set to capitalise on them?
I think the reforms are looking to protect the customer and getting the system working better. But importantly, there's an opportunity to put the client at the centre again. So anybody that is willing to play along that dimension, I think they'll find the space open. Increasingly, there's harmonisation across geographies of regulation. Mana spoke about TCF. It's a global guideline. So firms that are interested in playing, or firms that are capable of raising their level of service provision to talk to that global environment, firms that are able to raise their level of service to a global standard, I think our firms that will take advantage of those opportunities.
Mothobi, Manus, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.